Okay, so here's a thought. What if the very force that builds our modern world is the exact same one that tears it down? We're talking about a relentless cycle, an engine that creates unbelievable progress, but always for a price. Let's dig in.
Think about this for a second. For pretty much all of human history, stagnation was just normal. Life for your great-great-grandparents was almost identical to life for their great-great-grandparents. Then, around 200 years ago, boom, something fundamental changed. So what on earth happened?
Well, the answer looks a little something like this: a hockey stick. For centuries, that line is basically flat. Then, all of a sudden, you see this incredible explosion of economic growth. I mean, the average economic output per person has more than doubled with every single generation. Change, not stagnation, suddenly became the new normal.
So what was the engine behind this incredible curve? Well, in a word, technology. Just take the telephone, for example. It wasn't just one invention, right? It was this constant stream of new ideas, each one building on the last one, and eventually making it obsolete.
But here's the catch. Technology alone doesn't really explain it. Humans have had big inventions for millennia. Think about the printing press. But they never kicked off this kind of sustained growth. So it wasn't just the tech itself. It was a whole new way of thinking about tech that really lit the fuse.
According to some really fascinating Nobel-winning research, the secret sauce was fusing two different kinds of knowledge. For most of history, you had prescriptive knowledge. That's the how. Craftsmen knew how to build a wagon, but they didn't necessarily know the physics of why it worked. That why is called propositional knowledge, the scientific understanding.
And this is where it gets really cool. When you finally put the how and the why together, something amazing happened. For the first time ever, science started to guide technology, and new technology created new tools for science. This created this powerful feedback loop, this virtuous cycle of innovation that just started feeding on itself. So, to sum it up, the research says you needed these three key ingredients to all come together. First, that useful knowledge we just talked about, the science and tech combo. Second, you needed mechanical competence, skilled engineers who could actually build this new stuff. And finally, and honestly, this might be the most crucial part of the whole puzzle, you needed a society that was actually open to all this constant change and disruption.
And all of this whole process, brings us to the engine at the heart of it all. The Nobel laureates gave this constant churn of innovation and disruption a name: creative destruction. It's a concept that perfectly captures both the good and the bad of a dynamic economy.
Let's break that down. The creative part is the one we all love to talk about, right? It's companies pouring money into research and development, trying to build a better mousetrap. And if they pull it off, they become the market leader, they make a profit, and we all get a better product. It's climbing the ladder of progress. But here's the thing. For every winner climbing that ladder, someone else often gets pushed off. That's the destructive part. New, better things make the old things obsolete. Now, the economic model has a pretty harsh name for this, the business stealing effect. But listen, it's not like actual theft. It's just what happens when we, the customers, choose something new and better. And this destruction, this process of companies being forced out of the market, isn't just some abstract idea. It has a very real, very formal, very legal name: bankruptcy.
So, if companies failing is a necessary part of progress, how do we manage it? Well, this is where a country's bankruptcy system becomes incredibly important. It's basically the rulebook for how to handle the inevitable fallout from all this creative destruction in a way that isn't just total chaos. And if you ever wonder why this matters, just look at what happens in a crisis. During the 2008 financial meltdown, business bankruptcies in the US jumped by over 40% in a single year. So yeah, having a good system isn't a nice to have, it's absolutely critical infrastructure.
And here's the thing, not all bankruptcy systems are created equal, not even close. A bad one is like a trap. It locks up people, capital, and good ideas in failing zombie firms. But a good one? It acts fast. It gets those same resources out and back into the economy where they can do some good, which encourages people to take risks and helps the whole economy bounce back faster.
So what's the goal of a modern bankruptcy system? What does good even look like? Well, it's a real balancing act. You're trying to get the most value out of what's left of the company, figure out if it can be saved or if it's time to pull the plug, and you have to do all of that quickly, fairly, and in a way everyone can understand.
But of course, when we talk about reallocating resources, we're not just talking about empty buildings and old machines. We are talking about people. We're talking about jobs. This whole process of creative destruction has a very real human cost, and a healthy society has to figure out how to support the people who are caught in the middle.
You know, this fear of being replaced by a machine, it's not new at all. Just look at the Luddites in the 19th century. They were skilled workers who literally destroyed the machines they were afraid would take their jobs. It's a really powerful reminder that the anxiety we all feel today about AI and automation, well, people have been feeling that for a very long time.
So what's the modern answer? Instead of smashing the machines, what do? Well, today, many countries use something called active labor market policies, or ALMPs for short. Think of them as government-backed programs designed specifically to help people who've lost their jobs due to this churn get back on their feet. Okay, so how do they actually help? The ones that really work focus on super practical stuff, teaching people skills for jobs that companies are actually hiring for, connecting them directly with those companies, giving them one-on-one support, basically making that tough transition to a new job or a new career just a little bit smoother.
All right, so we've seen how this engine of progress got started and how we've tried to manage the fallout. But what's next? The forces of disruption are only getting faster, and the 21st century is throwing a whole new set of challenges our way.
I think Nobel laureate Philippe Aghion puts it perfectly. He says prosperity is a mix of technology and the institutions we build. Basically, he's saying technology isn't good or bad on its own. It's all about the rules we create around it. If our policies can't keep up with the tech, we're going to have a bad time.
And wow, the disruptive forces we're looking at today are just massive. You've got AI, which could change everything about how we work. You've got climate change, forcing a huge shift to green energy. You have global trade getting more complicated. And then there's the power of these giant superstar companies, which might actually be slowing down innovation for everyone else.
So, for 2 centuries, this engine of creative destruction has been the driving force of our world. It's given us incredible progress, but it's always come at a price. So the big question is, the one we're all facing, is, are we ready for where this engine is taking us next?